So absolute value, this is the next unit that we're starting. So this is just kind of an introduction or a reminder of what absolute value means. So if you notice, it says absolute value of a number is the distance between 0 and that number. We use two straight up and down lines or bars to represent it. So if I said I want to find the absolute value of 3, and where did my black pen go? Oh, there it is. So if I wanted to find the absolute value of 3, I would know that it's saying absolute value because it'd have those two bars. And then, so if you think about 3, 3 is 3 units away from 0. So the absolute value of 3 is 3. Where the absolute value of -3, oops, that pencil doesn't work. Let's use blue. Where the absolute value of -3 is 3. Because -3 is also 3 units away. So I'm going to go ahead and draw a number line. Sometimes I think it's easier if you look at a number line to decide. So I'm going to put 0 right in the middle. 1, 2, 3, 4. -1, -2, -3, -4. Okay, so if I'm trying to find the absolute value of 3, so I'm trying to find 3, I would know that it's 1, 2, 3 units away. So 3 units from 0. And then if I was wanting to find the absolute value of -3, it's 1, 2, 3 units away. So the absolute value of a +3 and a -3 are the same because they're both 3 units away. So I'm going to go ahead and write that just so that you have it in the notes. They have the same absolute value because they are both 3 units from 0. Oh, sorry, you couldn't even see it. So they have the same absolute value. Okay, we've been talking about linear functions. Now we're going to talk about absolute value functions. So I'm going to graph y equals the absolute value of x. And notice those are not ones. Sometimes it's hard for people to see it, but those are not ones. So I'm just going to use a couple of values. So I'm going to use -2, -1, 0, 1, and 2. So we have to find the absolute value of x. So I'm going to put the absolute value on each of these. And then it's going to give me the y value. And that's how I'm going to graph my absolute value. So think about how far -2 is from 0. So if you have a number line, it's always easy. It's 1, 2, or just take off the negative. -2 is 2 units away from 0. 1, -1 is 1 unit. 0 is 0 units. 1 is 1 unit, and 2 is 2 units. So it's -2 is 2 units away, 2 is 2 units away. Okay. And again, this is just an introduction. We will be working with this a lot more over the next while. Okay, so the first point was at -2, so -1, -2, and up 2. This one is at -1, 1. This one's at 0, 0. This one's at 1, 1, so over 1, up 1, and then over 2, up 2. So it looks kind of like what we've been doing. The only thing is, instead of it just being a straight line this way, it takes this half and moves it up. Because of it, you can't have the absolute value of a negative number. So the -1 has to be a +1. The -2 has to be a +2. So that's why it makes that V. So I would write somewhere absolute value makes a V. Okay, and this is just a graph of y equals the absolute value of x. This point right here, because this is an introduction, so anytime I use this word, this is called the vertex. And that's where it changes from going up to going down. So that point right there is the vertex, the bottom of the V. You can have them on occasion, since this is an introduction, they can flip this way. And it again is just the same thing. The vertex would be right here. It's where it stops going up and starts going down, or vice versa. Okay, so that's an introduction to absolute value. All I need you to do is make sure you take the notes today.